stuff.
Red balls, like I'm the best. I think I'm the best transition player in the league. That's where I thrive. Everybody knows that's my game. So, you know, getting the ball off of rebound or in transition, like that's probably when I'm going to be the primary ball handler more than anything. And then, you know, getting off the ball a little bit and catching your breath. Like it is exhausting bringing the ball.
A little bit.
A little bit. Did you catch that? A little bit of off-ball stuff. That's Caitlin Clark's diplomatic way of saying something the Stephanon truthers don't want to hear, because buried in that answer is the most confident statement any WNBA player has made this offseason. And it's not about playing shooting guard.
All right, black and white sports supporters. Well, guess what? Oh, they tried to do a victory lap. The Stephanon conspiracy theorist. These Stephanie White truthers trying to do a victory lap. You see, off ball. She wants to play off ball. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast, my friend. Caitlin Clark has come out.
The Indiana Fever just secured something unprecedented in WNBA history. All 44 games on national television. Not 30 games, not 35. Every single game the Fever play in 2025 will be broadcast nationally. That's the most national TV games for any single WNBA team ever. And the league didn't make this decision because of Kelsey Mitchell. They didn't do it for Aaliyah Boston. They did it because Caitlin Clark is a ratings phenomenon who brought 3.2 million viewers to WNBA games last season. But here's what makes this announcement fascinating. The graphic the Fever released shows Clark in the background, slightly out of focus, with other players front and center. And that visual choice tells you everything about how this franchise still views their roster hierarchy, even after Clark shattered every attendance and viewership record the league had.
Caitlin Clark literally just said, occasionally, I like playing off ball because I need a rest. I need to chill. By the way, that doesn't mean fail to pass her the ball back. I mean, yeah, can she play shooting guard? Sure. Occasionally. To get a blow, but hey, Stephanie White, are you going to be Stephanie White? Oh, you Stephanie White purist. Is she going to actually draw up some plays?
Now this is where it gets interesting, because the Stephanon conspiracy theorists, the people who've been insisting Stephanie White was hired to move Clark off the ball and feature other players, they thought they had their gotcha moment. Clark mentioned playing off ball during training camp. She talked about Raven Johnson and Temi Fagbenle handling the ball, and immediately, social media erupted with "I told you so" posts. But watch what happens when you actually listen to the full context. Clark says it 4 times in 20 seconds. A little bit of off-ball stuff. A little bit of a break. She's not describing a role change. She's describing the reality of playing 30-plus minutes per game at the highest level of professional basketball.
Or what is the best transitional player in the league? Caitlin, talk to him.
I don't know if you guys have heard anything I've said.
No.
Steph has talked about creating depth in the backcourt, especially with your injuries last year, Kelsey going until the wheels fell off. Just what do you think about having Ty and Raven kind of backing up in the backcourt? She also talked about.
And then she drops it, the statement that should be the actual headline. I think I'm the best transition player in the league. That's where I thrive. Everybody knows that's my game. Not I'm one of the best. Not I'm developing into a great transition player. I am the best, present tense, definitive. That's Caitlin Clark telling the entire WNBA she's coming for the MVP award in 2025. That's her putting Breanna Stewart, Aja Wilson, and every other elite player on notice. Think about what that means. The best transition player in the league is the player who gets the ball after a rebound or turnover and pushes it up the court. That's the point guard. That's the primary ball handler. That's not someone playing off ball while Raven Johnson runs the offense.
Because it's exhausting.
I'll have 94 feet versus pressure every single time. So we certainly need to find somebody that can handle the ball a little bit and, give me a little bit of a break. And I think Raven and Ty.
A little bit of a break.
And even other people through camp, Tori's done a great job. And, Kels does it a little bit. And even I think our 4s and 5s can do that. You saw AB do that a lot last year when we were really in trouble injury-wise. So I think there's a lot of different things that can give us a lot of different looks and just makes us harder to guard more than anything.
Here's the translation nobody wants to acknowledge. When Clark says it's exhausting bringing the ball up 94 feet versus pressure every single time, she's not asking to play shooting guard. She's explaining why she needs occasional rest during games. 3 minutes out of 30, 4 minutes out of 32, not 22 minutes, watching someone else run the offense. And notice who she mentions as potential ball handlers. Raven Johnson, yes, but also Temi Fagbenle, also Kelsey Mitchell, also Aaliyah Boston. She's describing a system where multiple players can advance the ball when she needs a breather. That's smart basketball. That's what championship teams do. What she's not describing is Stephanie White's supposed master plan to turn her into a spot-up shooter, because that would be the fastest way to go from 44 national TV games in 2025 down to 24 in 2026. The league didn't give Indiana this unprecedented schedule to watch Raven Johnson dribble the ball up the court while Clark stands in the corner.
Breaking TV records again. All 44 games are on national TV. Most national TV games in franchise history. Most national TV games for a single WNBA team. All 44 national TV games. Once again, Indiana Fever. What is with this graphic? Put Caitlin Clark in the front. I mean, this is exactly how, I'm going to tell you right now. This is exactly how Stephanie White views this team.
Let's talk about what this national TV schedule actually means. Every game on ION, ESPN, ABC, Peacock, or Prime Video. That means if you're a Fever fan, you don't need WNBA League Pass anymore. You can watch every single game with basic cable and a couple streaming services. The league essentially killed their own League Pass revenue from Fever fans just to guarantee Clark is accessible to the maximum possible audience. That's a calculated business decision. The WNBA looked at the data from 2024 and concluded that putting Caitlin Clark on national television 44 times will generate more revenue than keeping some games on League Pass. They're betting that casual fans will tune in to ABC and ESPN, see Clark play, and become invested in the league long term. But here's the risk. If Stephanie White actually does reduce Clark's role, if she actually implements some egalitarian offense where everyone touches the ball equally and Clark plays off ball for significant minutes, those casual viewers will disappear. They're not tuning in to watch committee basketball. They're tuning in to watch the player who averaged 19 points and 8 assists as a rookie while playing the most exciting style in the league.
I mean, it's not brain surgery here, folks. It's not. This is not the I got you moment these Stephanon truthers we're looking for. By the way, Caitlin Clark is about to go on a rampage. If she can get the ball. And look, Stephanie White, a little bit is if she plays 30 minutes, she's off the ball for 3 minutes. 4 minutes, not 22 minutes. Besides, nobody wants to watch that bullshit anyway. Well, let's just be honest. That's a quick way to go from 44 national games down to 24 next year.
And this is what the Stephanon truthers fundamentally misunderstand. Caitlin Clark is never going to publicly criticize Stephanie White. She's never going to stand at a podium and say, my coach is using me wrong. She's never going to throw Raven Johnson under the bus or complain about her role. That's not who she is. She's got too much class, too much media training, too much awareness of how these things work. The only way you'll ever know if Clark is genuinely unhappy is when a trade request hits the front office like a bomb. No warning, no public complaints, just a private meeting where she says I want out, and suddenly the entire Fever organization is scrambling to figure out what went wrong. That's how professional athletes handle these situations. They smile for the cameras, they say the right things in interviews, they talk about playing off ball a little bit and trusting their teammates, and then behind closed doors, they tell their agent to get them out of a bad situation. But here's what should terrify the Fever front office. Clark just told everyone she's the best transition player in the league. She just declared her intention to dominate in 2025, and if Stephanie White's system prevents that from happening, if the offense bogs down into half-court sets where Clark is standing off ball watching Raven Johnson dribble, that trade request becomes inevitable. Because Clark knows what the rest of us know. She's the reason for those 44 national TV games. She's the reason the Fever went from 12 wins in 2023 to 20 wins in 2024. She's the reason attendance doubled and viewership tripled. And if this organization can't build a system that maximizes her talents, another team will. The New York Liberty would love to have her. The Las Vegas Aces would clear cap space immediately. The Los Angeles Sparks would offer whatever it takes. Every team in the league knows that Caitlin Clark is a generational talent who drives revenue like nobody since Candace Parker. And if Indiana fumbles this opportunity by trying to make her fit into some predetermined system instead of building the system around her, they'll regret it for the next decade. So when you hear Clark say, "I think I'm the best transition player in the league," don't focus on the off-ball comments. Focus on the confidence, focus on the declaration of intent. She's telling Stephanie White, the Fever organization, and the entire WNBA exactly what she expects in 2025. The ball in her hands, the offense running through her, the freedom to push the pace and create in transition. A little bit of off-ball time for rest? Sure, that's reasonable, that's smart. But if anyone thinks Caitlin Clark is going to accept a reduced role after the season she just had, they haven't been paying attention. This is a player who broke viewership records, sold out arenas, and dragged the Fever to the playoffs despite a coaching staff that couldn't figure out basic rotations until June. And now she's got a coach in Stephanie White, who supposedly understands the game at a higher level, who supposedly knows how to maximize talent, who supposedly has a system that will unlock the Fever's full potential. Great, then that system better have Caitlin Clark as the primary ball handler, the main initiator, and the focal point of the offense. Because anything else is organizational malpractice. The 44 national TV games prove the league understands Clark's value. The question is whether the Fever organization understands it, whether they're willing to build around her properly, whether they're prepared to make the difficult decisions necessary to maximize a generational talent. Because here's the thing about generational talents, they don't come around often. And when you have one, you don't try to fit them into your system, you build the system around them. You give them the ball, you let them cook, you surround them with complementary pieces who understand their role is to make the star better, not compete with her for touches. So what do you think happens this season? Does Stephanie White actually unleash Caitlin Clark and let her play the transition-heavy, high-paced style that made her the best transition player in the league? Or does she try to implement some balanced offense where everyone gets equal opportunities and Clark spends significant time off ball? Because one of those approaches leads to MVP consideration and deep playoff runs. The other leads to disappointed fans, declining viewership, and eventually a trade request that blows up the entire organization. Tell me which one you think we're going to see, because after watching that interview, I know which one Caitlin Clark expects.